Welcome back to SCV today. The theme of the day has turned into parenting, and
It sure has.
It wasn't even by design, as most things in my life aren't. I just kind of ride along, and if I was a surfer, yeah, do as I'm told. Dave Morris, birthday. Oh right, yeah, forgot about that. Roma Khetarpal is joining us. Roma has written a book.
Yep, I got the book.
Come on,
The
Vanna.
Perfect Parent. Vanna.
Roma is a Santa Clarita resident and has written this book, The Perfect Parent, and it talks about the 5 points about being a perfect parent. Talk a little bit in general about the book and why you wrote it.
Sure. You know, I started parenting classes a few years ago, Dave, and I really started to dwell deep into what sort of guidance parents were looking for. And I think the one thing that caught my attention is this chase of perfection. You know, parents always, and probably not consciously, but definitely subconsciously trying to keep up with the environment, with the peer pressure, getting kids involved in so many different activities to the point of exhaustion for both parent and child. And really what that did to the parent-child relationship, I think that became a really interesting, attractive point for me to enter into the parent world and try to perhaps calm that down a little bit. And that's why we have the quotes on the word perfect. You know, what is a perfect parent? You know, what is that ideal of perfection that we're chasing for? And what does that really even mean in reality with our connection with the kids? Because really, I mean, in parenting, that's what we're shooting for, is that relationship with the child. And how does that ideal to chase perfection fit into that? And it really doesn't. So if you think about it, and I say this in the introduction, we are all perfect parents. We are perfect for our kids. And if we were to line up a bunch of parents and ask our child to pick, they would only pick us, and vice versa. We would only pick our kids, despite all the, you know, all these things that we're talking about, right? Despite all the issues and the ups and the downs. So I really believe that this is, you know, the parent-child connection is perfect just the way it is. That said, it's always nice to have tools where we can extract that inner perfection, which each one of us has within us. And so, you know, this is what the book is about. And I think I go in with the belief that every parent has a great value to offer to their children. And if I can give them some tools to help extract that greatness, to share that with their kids, extract that inner perfection, then it'll just make the ride a little bit easier while they're in this crazy, you know, doing phase of running from task to task, which is reality. It's just the way it is.
Up on the screen, we have the spot it, say it, okay it. Tell us a little bit about that. This is kind of your theory on how to handle the situations.
Sure. You know, Tammy, you and I kind of touched on that just a little bit earlier. Parenting is an emotional platform. It just is. That's just the way it is. We literally go from one emotion to the next, and you know, our day goes by, and if we actually sat and documented the number of emotions we went through, we'd be surprised how it really is. That's what we're doing from one task to another. So there's a lot of research now on emotional intelligence and what that means. And I really think that in order to build communication with your child, if we can balance that emotional platform, then we can actually break through into having that communication breakthrough with our child. We can break through into having a relationship with them, a connection with them, and a dialogue with them. And so, of course, dealing with the feeling it's actually a simplified version of the emotional intelligence techniques that are advocated by Daniel Goleman, John Gottman, Dr. Christine Carter. These are all pioneers, you know, especially the first two that I mentioned. They're pioneers in the emotional intelligence field. And we have so much information today on how emotional intelligence is of value to both parents and children for not just academic success, but life success, and how EQ, the emotional quotient, actually beats the importance of IQ today. So I think we're going through that shift where parents really need to evaluate what is more important. And really, if the EQ, if the emotional intelligence is going to drive their academic success and life success, then I think the attention really needs to be on that. And I'm a really big advocate of that. So I thought, why not simplify this? And so dealing with the feeling is a simplified version of the emotion coaching steps that are offered by these great pioneers. And in dealing with the feeling, there are 3 steps: spot it, say it, okay it. So spot the feeling.
So let's put that, there we go. Yeah, I wanted to make certain that we put that graphic back up. Go ahead.
So spot the feeling. I know you're angry right now. You know, spot that anger in the child, spot it and say it. So say it out loud. I know you're angry right now, and then okay it. I understand where you're coming from. It's okay to be angry. So even if you don't understand where they're coming from, it's okay to tell them that it's okay to be angry. I understand where you're coming from.
Okay, let's use that example of the video from Wyoming.
Fabulous.
Okay?
I'd love to.
Yes, because you talk about spot it, say it, okay it. Spotting it, the girl was ditching class.
Sure.
So she was saying it on camera for all to see. Was she okaying it?
You know, I think that is such a bad example.
Yeah, that's an emotion, that's an action.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's sort of the end result of what should have happened. You know, dealing with the feeling should have happened at home.
Right.
To sit down with the child and say, okay, let's talk about this. I see that you are not interested in going to class. You are, you're ditching class. So let's talk about what you're feeling and why you're ditching class. That's where it should have started. And I'm sure if the parent went in with that emotion in check, and I talk about this in the communication balance, Dave, and I'll circle back to this issue. There are 3 elements to communication. There's thoughts, feelings, and expressions. That's the communication balance. And if feelings are out of whack, if they're not in balance, then you're not going to be able to get through to the child's intellect to have a conversation with them and make a point. In this case, what has happened is, I think, my personal opinion, the mom has taken those, emotions of this child not wanting to go to school for whatever reason, not even exploring those, and just coming down with let me tell you what I'm going to do about this, without even finding out why the child is doing this. And so what she's done, she's taken her emotions and added those onto that emotional platform that's already overloaded. And then this happens, nothing good is going to come out of this.
So
Nothing.
let me just take another side.
Sure.
I'll just take another side just for argument's sake. So some people would say, I'm not going to take my child and set him down and have a little conversation with them. I'm going to spank the child. I'm going to get their attention. I'm going to do something that is shocking to the child to get their attention. So because I need to get this point across, whether it's their, and maybe that's an emotional reaction, like you were saying.
Sure.
So maybe that's an overly emotional reaction on their part, or they feel like that's the only way I can get anything across to my kid on this bad behavior. I need to shock them into it. Like taking a camera and following them around school.
Dave, first of all, taking that camera and following them around school, I'm with Tammy on that. This is more about the mom.
Yeah.
I completely agree with Tammy on that. However, if you have repeatedly tried to talk to the child and try to get through to the child, and then you're not able to, then if there are some things that you need to come down hard on, drawing some guidelines, I think it's important to do that. However, this behavior that this mom has shown, I mean, that's just, you're a parent. What sort of example do you set to your child when you're actually embarrassing them? So, you've got all this emotion that this child already has, then you add this whole level of embarrassment on top of it. It's going to take a while to peel off all those layers and get to the bottom of this. And when parents do that, this emotional drama doesn't stop. It just layers on, and there's one issue after another.
It sounds to me like every parent should be buying this book. It's called The Perfect Parent. Where can they get it?
Barnes & Noble, Amazon, available online. I launched October 1st.
And by the way, Roma is going to be at Barnes & Noble. You've got 2 different events.
Yeah.
One is for educators, Sue Reynolds. Yeah. By the way, one is for educators. That event's coming up, and then you've got one for parents as well.
Exactly. October 10th is the parent event. It's a discussion and a book signing. I felt it was really important to discuss the basic principles of the book, the basic tools of the book, and being a parentologist, an advocate of mindful parenting, I think it's important to speak about the message instead of just doing the book signing. So Joelle was Beagle, the CRM at Barnes & Noble, was fabulous in advocating that. And then she went a step further and said, let's pull out these emotional intelligence tools and communication tools, and these would be really applicable in the classroom as well. So we designed that. October 16th would be the
Wonderful.
educator event.
The
Fantastic.
book is The Perfect Parent. You can get it at Barnes & Noble. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, thank you for having me. Thank you.
Thank you, Roma
so
Khetarpal.
much.
So we've been talking about parenting, lousy kids, good kids, different parenting. And so what happens at the end of the day with all parents?
You drink wine.
You drink wine.
Hook up the IV.
The wine affair is going to be coming up, and we are going to be talking about it when we return.